Well, hello and welcome to Up North Live Unscripted. I'm Allie Baxter. Let's go ahead and bring in meteorologist Ethan Foreman. Ethan, we have seen a lot of beautiful fall colors. We've been kind of taking a tour across northern Michigan today. We don't have a camera up right now, but you do have one over your shoulder right there where there is some beautiful fall color. But along with that fall color, we've gotten a lot of rain as well.
Yeah, and we've seen some sunshine at times too, bringing some beautiful rainbows across the region the last few days. Also had some graupel at times, so just been kind of an interesting week, and that's because of those lake effect showers we've been seeing. But we do have about 12 to maybe 24 hours left of this lake effect rain, and then we'll get a break as we head into the weekend. If you're looking to do some leaf peeping, looks like this weekend will be pretty nice for it. But one of the last weekends we'll probably be seeing this, and also our last weekend before daylight saving time next weekend as well. So enjoy these 6:30 sunsets while we got them, because it'll be dark at this time in just about a week and a half. So enjoy that, and I'll tell you when we'll see some more sunshine and also a little bit of a warm up in your full forecast.
All right, well, thank you, Ethan, for that preview. In our top story tonight, a historical landmark in Charlevoix was destroyed early this morning. Police say the fire at the Belvedere Club, commonly referred to as the casino, started around 3 a.m. and investigators don't believe that was an accident. Mary Jane Glenn has the latest.
The fire, which began around 3 a.m., lit up the night and could be seen for miles.
When we arrived on scene, within a couple minutes, it was already on the ground, fully engulfed. So it took about an hour for fire crews to knock down the fire.
State troopers were alert. They saw a strange cloud and a glow, and they came to investigate it and found the structure fire, and then they began knocking on residences' doors. This is a seasonal community, so many of the residences are closed up for the winter, and the property management is on site, and they were notified of the fire shortly after it started.
McDonald says that a 44-year-old man from the Charlevoix Township was arrested in connection to this fire. However, investigators are not saying how the fire started or what led to the man's arrest.
I do know a couple of my firemen did hear the explosion from their house, which they live 2.5 miles away. They did hear an explosion. The cause of that explosion at this time is undetermined.
The casino's general manager says the building was built in 1922. It was a dining facility for members of the Belvedere Club.
The devastation, I can't believe what a big hole it is, but it's a wonderful family tradition. It's all about families here. Everybody participates. We have wonderful parties down there. My granddaughter's wedding reception was there. This is really heartbreaking.
And that was Mary Jane Glenn reporting. Again, investigators wouldn't say how they believe that fire started. We'll continue to follow any updates on potential charges the suspect may face. Well, if you joined us last night at 11, you heard that Michigan lawmakers are one step closer to increasing penalties for people who flee and elude law enforcement. A bill introducing those penalties passed the House yesterday with support from one of our northern Michigan representatives. And he's joining us here now on Unscripted. This is Representative Parker Fairbairn. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me on this evening.
Well, before we get into your why for supporting this bill, can you tell us a little bit about it? Exactly what is this proposing?
Yeah, so we're making the mandatory minimums harder on criminals fleeing and eluding the police when they're pursuing these assailants. And this stemmed from a few things. We saw this all over northern Michigan, let's say. It happened with us with a local group, our Charlevoix golf team, actually, just this spring. There was someone fleeing and eluding in Benzie County. Our golf team was heading back from a match, and they got in an accident with someone who was eluding the police. So we want to crack down on this and make it a lot harder. When people are thinking about running away from the police, we want to make them think twice about doing that.
Mm-hmm. And you already kind of explained your why for supporting this, but when did this first come up? Why did you choose to sponsor this bill?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, a few reasons. All over Michigan, you see, we've been trying to crack down on crime. This legislature that we have, the House of Representatives, we've been trying to really get to the meat of the issue, and we believe this is one of them. It's happened all over Michigan and southeast Michigan, southwest Michigan, and we really wanted to answer the call. We've heard from our law enforcement. that this was something that they wanted to do, and prosecutors wanted to see this done too. We want to crack down on these folks that are running away from our police and causing accidents when this happens, when they're getting at speeds of over 100 miles an hour. That's very, very dangerous. And we've seen it happen here in Northern Michigan. That's a big reason I supported this. Our golf team in Northern Michigan, injuries all over the place. Coach Drenth, a really good guy, he had some serious injuries along with a lot of golfers on that golf team. We want to crack down on this.
And have you been able to speak to anyone who is part of that golf team or the coach about this legislation?
I haven't had the opportunity to, but really for me, it was the call to action on this. I saw the legislation coming down the pipeline this year, and I was happy to jump on board and support it this week.
And you did mention earlier, this has really been a collaborative effort. It hasn't just been from lawmakers. You've spoken to prosecutors, law enforcement across the state. What have they been telling you guys?
Well, they've been seeing this happen, and these criminals, the penalties are not hard enough. So they feel the need in some circumstances to evade the police. They think it's better to evade the police than just get pulled over. And every time it makes it worse for everybody around the area. The people driving on the roads, walking in our sidewalks, it's very, very dangerous. And that's why we're cracking down on it. We want to make them think twice before they do something like this.
And this is getting into some of the nitty-gritty details of this bill, but those specific penalties, it is different for the degree you're charged with, right?
It is, yep. Up to 4th degree. So there's 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th degree, and each of them have different penalties, but each of them are ramping up, and the penalties are getting worse and worse.
And this did already pass the House yesterday, but it still does have to go to the Senate, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we believe this is very bipartisan. This is a bill that shouldn't have a problem. We see all this happening all over Grand Rapids and Detroit and Northern Michigan. We want to make sure that we're cracking down on these situations. When we have people eluding the police, eluding law enforcement, there needs to be stiff penalties for that. And that's where this bill comes in, and we really think we'll see movement on it as it reaches the Senate.
Are there other Northern Michigan lawmakers who are also in support of this bill?
Mm-hmm. Well, if you looked at it, I believe the whole Republican caucus in the House supported this legislation. So a lot of Northern Michigan lawmakers are supportive of this legislation, yes.
Is there anything else that we haven't asked you about yet in regards to this bill that you feel like would be important for people to know or to understand about why it's being proposed?
I mean, we're trying to support our law enforcement, but we're also looking out for the safety of folks around Michigan. We don't want to have this false pretense that it's the law enforcement's fault for chasing these people down. They're doing their jobs, and we want to help them do their jobs. That's why we propose this legislation. That's why it passed the House very swiftly, and we hope it does that in the Senate too.
All right, well, Representative Fairbairn, thank you so much for joining us tonight on Unscripted and for diving into that legislation a little bit more. And in more legislative news, State House representatives were presented with legislation today to forbid experiments on dogs at Michigan's publicly funded institutions. Queenie's Law was named after a dog who was used in cardiology experiments and died at Wayne State University. Experiments done at the university showed that dogs undergo surgeries in which medical devices are implanted in and around their arteries. If the dogs survive the surgeries, they are then forced to run on treadmills while the implanted devices trigger heart failure. Canine researchers at Wayne State say this research has helped study the cardiovascular physiology in the context of heart disease.
Over the 30-plus year history of this research at Wayne State, there have been numerous scientific advancements that have been added to the body of scientific knowledge of cardiovascular physiology. Contrary to recent claims, our research has produced meaningful, peer-reviewed results.
Wayne State itself acknowledged these limitations in its 2023 Statement on Dog Research, admitting that science doesn't always move at the pace we like. But vague platitudes about making progress aren't enough to justify millions of taxpayer dollars and hundreds of dead dogs.
One senator says the bill would ensure that taxpayer dollars are used to advance human health, not to harm and kill defenseless animals. And this proposed legislation goes along with our question of the day today. And that question is, do you think experiments should be allowed on animals to benefit human health? That QR code is on your screen. You can go ahead and scan it. Right now, the results are 24% of people say yes, they do think experiments should be allowed on animals to benefit human health. 76% of people say no. And we will be going over the results and some of your comments about this question towards the end of the show. Well, if you remember, Michigan's state budget was just recently signed and done so at the last minute to avoid a shutdown. That budget is hundreds and hundreds of pages long, and there was a lot in it. But for local veterans, amongst all those pages, there was a change of a few words that have them concerned tonight. Mark Gillette highlights what words were missing.
So I'll be bluntly honest with you that I've reached out to my local legislators ever since February about this issue, and nobody's called me back. Nobody's emailed me back. I've sent letters, mailed letters to their offices, and it seems like nobody has any feelings about helping the veterans and the veteran offices within counties. It's pretty deflating.
Deflated, but not defeated at this morning's Grand Traverse County VA meeting. Concerns raised about a last-minute change in this year's state budget.
After they've served the country, that only 1% of the United States population serve in the military. So now we're forgetting that 1%.
Here's the issue. Since 2019, local Veterans Affairs offices have received County Veterans Service Fund grants for outreach.
Sometimes veterans don't know what's going on. And so that's our task, is to connect them.
So county VAs would use that grant money to keep local veterans involved and informed.
Stuff like advertise, marketing, promotional items, do presentation dinners, lunches, picnics, what have you. And that's what it was created for.
It was money spent to make sure veterans knew about the benefits they were entitled to.
They would give a base amount of $50,000, and then there's extra money per capita of veterans in your area.
For Grand Traverse, the total was $62 grand, $54 grand for Leelanau County. But that outreach funding, part of the past due state budget agreement, may be a thing of the past.
It seems like the 11 o'clock hour, some language changes were made. And within the CVSF grant, what is called allowable expenses changed.
Veterans say the Michigan Veteran Affairs Agency, who oversees the grants, is limiting what those funds can be used for.
Staff salaries, staff onboarding and training, and IT equipment, office rental. That's it.
Which some counties, supported by millages, don't need the money for. But those counties now can't use the restricted funds for the outreach they say is needed and impactful.
Without a program like MVAA giving us the money for advertising, it's something that will impact this society and our veterans in not a good way.
They claim without the outreach funding, local veterans will be less informed and more isolated. And they're calling for a formal investigation into the changes, a restoration of the outreach funding, and greater transparency. And they're asking one thing of you.
I just want the public to reach out to their local representatives and tell them that they want this changed.
And that was Mark Gillette reporting. While they are asking for concerned viewers to reach out to lawmakers, we also reached out via email to House Speaker Matt Hall directly and asked him this question. As Speaker, would you be willing to have the House address the MVAA's allowable expenses wording as it appeared in the budget to address the concerns raised? As of airtime this evening, we have not heard back from him. And a reminder before we head into our first commercial break, for those of you joining us online, you can vote in our question of the day. Again, that question is, do you think experiments should be allowed on animals to benefit human health? We'll be back.
I'm Jada Johnson from Big Boys TV, and the Fish and Game Report is sponsored by Johnson's Propane.
Welcome back to Up North Live Unscripted. Let's go ahead and bring in meteorologist Ethan Foreman now. Ethan, we are about to see a live look here over Traverse City, Leelanau County area, and it's showing us a mixture of pretty much what we've seen all week, right? We've got the rain. We've got the significant rain, as you can see, the pavement's pretty wet there. And we've got some fall colors too. And that's kind of what we've been talking about all week.
Yeah, and even a little bit of sunshine peeking out from time to time. Sunset just happened about 3 minutes ago, but we're continuing to see those lake effect showers. And we got about 24 more hours we could see this, but we do have a break with some more sunshine on the way this weekend. So really excited for that. And as we look over Traverse City, you could see those fall leaves in the background. And also, excuse me, a little bit of clearing trying to take place with those cumulonimbus clouds out there. And we'll be seeing those breezy northwest winds this evening as well at 13 miles per hour. And we did have a rainbow observed earlier today. This was sent to us by our own Trevor Drew. He's our digital manager here at Up North Live News. So thank you for sending that in, Trevor. Gorgeous shot with that double rainbow in those fall colors. Satellite and radar shows we continue to see those scattered showers across the area this evening, and that's going to be the trend over the next 24 hours or so, but they will be less numerous than you're seeing right now. And on Stormcast, that carries us through 8:30. You'll see a few showers will be possible still across the area, but they will be coming less numerous the later in the night we get. And then as we get toward 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, as you head to work and school, a few showers are still possible, but those showers will be less numerous as well on Friday. And by 7 p.m., even some clearing taking place as we see the last Friday night football game of the year for many folks, as we see, at least of the regular season, as we see those showers coming to an end. And as we head into our Saturday, clouds are starting to filter back in a bit, but some sunshine will still be possible, especially in the lower peninsula on Saturday. More clouds in the upper peninsula. Scattered showers, not impossible, but you'll see it does look like it'll be very light and very short-lived if we see anything at all. Then as we head into Sunday, a bit more sunshine in the forecast. Those rainfall amounts do look fairly light with maybe an additional 1/10 to 2/10 of an inch. Our drought monitor also updated today, bringing us some abnormally dry conditions rather than the moderate drought in some of our southeastern communities, but really no change for areas like Cadillac, Houghton Lake, over toward Big Rapids and Ludington. And our weekend forecast shows we'll see temperatures in the 50s for Saturday, 50s to low 60s on Sunday with some partial sunshine. And for tonight, we'll see, or for the fall color progress, I should say, we'll be seeing those peaking leaves as we head into this weekend. Your extended forecast shows we'll see some more sunshine as we head into our Sunday and Monday. Temperatures rebounding back in the 50s to near 60. More showers midweek next week.
Yeah, Ethan, it looks like most people are experiencing some of that peak fall color change right now. So cross fingers, this weekend would be the best time to see them?
Yes, it does look like it.
All right, well, thank you, Ethan, for that. We're going to go ahead and head into our next commercial break now. And a reminder for those of you joining us online, you can vote in our question of the day. We'll be back. Welcome back to Up North Live Unscripted. Well, Sports Director Harrison Beebe, he is out in the field tonight covering some playoff soccer games, but he did leave us this week's Jimmy John Sports Corner. We're talking about the Patriot game.
The following segment is sponsored by Jimmy John's of Traverse City.
When we're dissecting this Patriot game matchup, I know the records are, one game difference, West losing another non-conference game, but for the most part, these two look pretty even. They beat the same teams in conference, lost to the same teams in conference. It seems like a toss-up, just like a lot of other years between these two.
And they both come in off of a win. West has won one in a row. Central's on a 3-game win streak right now. So I expect it to be another good, tight game. I mean, the records are almost the same, like you said. The interesting part about it is that the result of this game might not really matter at all as far as getting into the playoffs or not. It looks like both teams are going to get into the playoffs by a little bit. It looks like they both are going to get the 2 and 3 seed in their district and play each other. So we could be seeing this pretty quick again in week 10.
What do you think is the key matchup in this game that's really going to determine a winner at Thurlby?
I think it's West defense against Central's offense. I think that's the strength of these two teams right now, and those two strengths are going to go head to head on Friday night.
Charlotte Kingsley, I mean, that one has got two great programs going at it. Raiders have yet to drop a game.
That does have some pretty decent implications for Kingsley. For Charlevoix, having a perfect season is obviously a big thing.
The NMFC Legacy Division title up for grabs. Glen Lake and Mansalona have yet to lose in this league.
Interestingly enough, this is another game that, like the Patriot game, looks like it could happen again in week 10. If Glen Lake wins this game, a win here for Mansalona would be massive. Get them maybe even potentially a home game.
Speaking of teams that are underdogs but at home, can Gaylord St. Mary do the impossible and hand Inland Lakes a loss? Or just hold them under 50?
They've only been scored on, I think, in one game. They've had 7 shutouts in 8 games. That's in 8-player football. That is pretty crazy and pretty unheard of in those high-scoring 8-player games.
All right, thank you for that, Harrison. We're going to head into our last commercial break now. When we come back, we'll be going over the results of our question of the day.
Salon services are furnished by Epiphany Advanced Academy in East Acme. Welcome back to Up North Live Unscripted. Let's take a look at the results of our question of the day.
Do you think experiments should be allowed on animals to benefit human health? 23% of people say yes, they should. 77% of people say no, they should not. And we do have a few comments to read here. Carl saying no. Edward also saying no. Tammy saying no. Jessica saying no. Michelle also saying no. Tim says it's a necessary evil. Matt saying no. Patty saying absolutely not. We do have a lot of very passionate comments here. Well, thanks for joining us tonight for Up North Live Unscripted. We'll see you back here tonight for Up North Live News at 11.